everybody, and welcome to another episode of our Wednesday night NFL review preview program, where we review last week's NFL results, and we're going to preview this upcoming game, the upcoming games in Week 7. I'm Joe Knows, happy to be with you again, guys. It was another astounding, fantastic week in the NFL. Love this season. There's just so much excitement going on. Unfortunately, if you're a Giants fan like me, that's not true. It's the exact opposite. But I got to say, it's been a great, fantastic NFL season otherwise. And before we get into the content, I actually had to record the episode tonight because I got to do some work starting at 8:30, so I couldn't go live tonight. So I'm hoping to have this done a little early and get it up and airing at around 8:30 tonight. So got to make it a little quick tonight. But anyway, before we get into the content, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Give us that 5-star Apple review because we deserve it. Where you can see the show, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Facebook, where we have two pages, Toilets and Titles, and When a Family Breaks, which is our Facebook page dedicated to the trading of sports memorabilia. It's very cool. Check it out. And also, you can go to patreon.com/toilets and titles, how you can learn how you can further support the show. And we have a fairly new website that we launched on August 1st of this year, toiletstotitles.com. It's got all of our videos, articles, tons of fantasy football content, as well as tons of NFL content. Check it out. It's great. I'm really, really, really proud of that website. It looks so good. It's been so great. And after this show tonight, starting at around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I would start looking for it around 10 p.m. It might not actually go on until like 10:30 or 11. It depends on what time Rich and Nate can get on. They both tend to work late, and they've got families too. So, like most of us here at Tallest Titles, we tend to be pretty busy juggling everything. So, but after the show is Dollars to Deuces, which is our weekly betting advice. It's on after the show around 10:30 Eastern Standard, and that is with Rich and Nate. And after I wrap up this show, I always hop on there in the comments section because I always have a great time. It's a lot of fun. It's a great show. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. And they give their own weekly betting advice. But listen, if you've got questions, always feel free to send your weekly betting, I should say your betting questions through the chat. They'll be more than happy to address them. So let's move on to the content. Last week's games, let's review those. It was week 6 in the NFL, and we kicked off the week Thursday night with another very good game. I got to tell you, the NFL season this year, I think part of what's made it a lot of fun, even for Giants fans like myself, has been that the primetime games have really been very, very good. Maybe there's been like maybe one primetime game that hasn't been great. I can't even remember which one. I'm just guessing. But for the most part, they have all been really good. The Thursday night games, the Sunday night games, the Monday night games. And here we had the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Buccaneers are now 5-1. The Eagles are now 2-4. The Bucks defeated the Eagles 28-22. It was a good game. It was a good game, and I wasn't surprised by that. I actually took this game went exactly the way that I thought it would. I did take the Buccaneers in this game straight up to win, but I took the Eagles getting the points. So the Eagles were getting 7 points, and they only lost by 6. But it was a good game, and I'll tell you, I want to give. Let's go to the box score on this one because there's a lot of good numbers here, a lot of good sexy numbers to review. Tom Brady being Tom Brady goes 34 for 42, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But he had a very good game. Leonard Fournette for Tampa Bay. It looks like he's really taken hold of that running back position. And I'm not as the number one running back in Tampa Bay, and I'm not surprised by that. I felt like he should have been the RB1 last year, the clear cut. He should be this year. And I'm sure Fournette's going to have the job as the RB1 until he gets injured. And I guarantee you he will get injured sometime this year because he always does. And then you'll see Ronald Jones step in and he'll stink it up like he always does because Ronald Jones the second stinks. And but Leonard Fournette had 22 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. And Fournette also had 6 receptions on 6 targets for 46 yards. So Fournette had around 127 yards combined. But that's really interesting because I don't believe Fournette used to be known for being too involved in the receiving game. But I've noticed that each game so far this year, at least over the past like 3 weeks, Fournette's been getting more targets, more yards, more receptions, more yards. And he's he's just becoming an even more important player on the team. So you're not surprised by that. Oh, I should say I am a little surprised. I'm glad to see that because I love Fournette. I'm a big Leonard Fournette fan. And his Achilles heel is that he's always been getting banged up and injured, and he loses playing time. But when he's on the field, this guy makes things happen. He's my type of running back. He's a banger. I love this guy. So he again he put up Fournette put up like around 127 yards rushing and receiving combined, 2 touchdowns. He had a monster game. And Antonio Brown had a touchdown on 93 yards. So great game for Antonio Brown. I'm glad to see that his career is rejuvenated in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. The Philadelphia side, I got to tell you, Jalen Hurts. Look at this line. Look at this line. Jalen Hurts had he went 12 for 26. Obviously not good. 12 completions, 26 attempts, 115 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jalen Hurts also put up 44 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So not a lot of yards combined. Hurts only put up like 170 yards combined, but a total of 3 touchdowns he was responsible for. So I'll tell you, Jalen Hurts, I really like Jalen Hurts a lot. I think this guy is a keeper. I don't know if he's ever going to be a franchise quarterback. But I think he's showing a lot this season, and he doesn't play on the best offense. Miles Sanders is not. First of all, Philadelphia's offensive line is not what it used to be. It is like it is older, and they do need to build that line back up. They've got Devonta Smith, who I absolutely believe in, and Devonta Smith's not having a great rookie year. He's not having a very good rookie year, but I think Devonta Smith is going to wind up being very good. But Miles Sanders is he's definitely, I think he's taken a step back this year too. I think a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. But Jalen Hurts is keeping the Eagles in games. And, I find that to be really impressive. I thought it was a good idea for Philadelphia to give Jalen Hurts this entire year to prove himself. And I thought I like that they didn't draft a quarterback last year, that they stuck with Jalen Hurts. I wanted to see what he could do. And I think he's actually showing a lot. And the Eagles aren't a great team. They're not what they were a few years ago when they were really good and they were really stacked and deep. That's not how they are right now. But Jalen Hurts is, he's keeping the Eagles in games. And I think obviously the stat line for this game is not very good, but he wound up keeping the Eagles in this game anyway, when they really had no business being in this game, to be honest with you. But they did, like I thought they would, because the Eagles are a tough team. They don't lay down for anyone. They're a tough team. And Jalen Hurts, I think, is a tough cookie. He's a tough character. So I like him. Anyway, moving on to the next game. Jaguars. You can cross the Jaguars off the list of winless teams. The Jaguars do have a win. This is another game I picked. The Jaguars defeated the Miami Dolphins in London, 23-20, and it was Jaguars got their first win. I called that one too, and not a big surprise. The Dolphins have been reeling themselves, but you would think they are better on paper than the Jaguars, but the Dolphins, like the Giants, are just having a disappointing season. And Washington football team is the same way, to be honest with you. But Jaguars got their first win. I'm very happy to see that. Trevor Lawrence had a nice game himself. I'm not going to go too deep into the stats here, but Trevor Lawrence had 319 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. James Robinson, running back, had a touchdown on 73 yards rushing. Marvin Jones Jr., receiver for Jacksonville, a touchdown, 100 yards receiving. Very, very nice. James Robinson, the running back for Jacksonville, also had 28 yards receiving. Okay, maybe I am going deeper into the numbers than I said I would. Tua, who might be traded to the Texans sometime this week. There were some, reports or rumors coming out that I saw on Twitter from a few different sources, I guess, or whatever. But I saw on Twitter that speculation that Deshaun Watson might be traded this week. And the thinking is that it's going to be traded to Miami, which is not a surprise. That's been the big rumor for like the past 6 months, if you will. But also what I saw too is I saw that there was a rumor that Washington might be involved in it well. And so it would be a 3-team trade scenario here. So, but Tua could be going to the Texans. Tua had a nice game. Tua won 33 for 47, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. So very good game from him. And you know what? I'll tell you, Tua, it was good to see him back. I'd like to see him get a full year with Miami. But listen, to him being back, it really helped out Jalen Waddle, who had a really big game. And Jalen Waddle early in the season was having a very good game. Was having a very good start to his season with Tua as his quarterback. And when Tua went down and Jacoby Brissett stepped in, that's when basically the wheels came off the cart for the receiving game for Miami. But here you got Tua's back. Jalen Waddle had 10 receptions on 13 targets for 70 yards. So it's not a big average, but still, that Jalen Waddle was rightfully seeing his targets. Like I said, he saw 13 targets, 10 receptions, 70 yards. Good game by Jalen Waddle. I like the Tua and Waddle connection a lot. I really, really do. Um, and that's that. And again, congratulations to Jacksonville for getting their first win of the season there. And Trevor Lawrence is getting better and better every week. He's looking good. So he's never looked bad, but he could definitely see him progressing. Every week. Just you watch him play. He looks so good, Trevor. He really does. He looks so good. Anyway, on to the next game. Packers going. They're 5-1 now. They defeated the 3-3 Bears, who are 21. Who are now the final score was 24-14. The Bears are now 3-3. Bears are having a pretty good season overall. The defense has really been keeping them in the season because their offense has been putrid. Whether it's been Dalton, who's been quarterback for the first few games, or now Fields. And Fields is a rookie, so I'm not blasting Justin Fields. He's a rookie quarterback, but the Bears' offense has been absolutely putrid. They might be maybe the only offense in the NFL that's been worse than the Giants this year, and possibly the Jets too. But Bears defense has been keeping them in games. But of course, the Packers, not surprising, way too much for the Bears. The Packers are, reeling off one win after another, which I called after their Week 1 destruction in New Orleans, which everyone had scratching their heads and saying that Aaron Rodgers was washed up and the Packers stink. I said, watch out, the Packers are going to come off and reel off a bunch of wins, and they did it. Packers are now 5-1, and final score was 24-14. I don't think I need to really go into the. I'm not really going to go deep into the stats in this game. I'll just call out that Khalil Herbert, rookie running back for Chicago, on 19 carries, had 97 yards and a touchdown. I like this guy coming into the draft, and he was a great late round pickup for Chicago. So nice game by him. He's definitely a hot commodity on the waiver wires in fantasy right now. But Khalil Herbert, I like him a lot. He had a very good game here. That's it. Not going to go, like I said, really not the sexy stat numbers in that game, so I'm not going to go crazy there. Moving on to the Bengals. The Bengals are now 4-2. Cincinnati Bengals, man, I love what they're building over there. How can you not love Joe Burrow and his trio of talented wide receivers, and Joe Mixon, the talented running back too? But let's face it, it's the air show in Cincinnati right now with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And they're a lot of fun, man. They're playing really well. They look really good. This rebuild is going so good. Their head coach is doing a great job over there. The young head coach is doing a great job over in Cincinnati. They took care of business in Detroit. The final score was 34-11. Unfortunately, the Lions are, I think they may be the only winless team right now. The Lions. So, and this is really the first game where I think the Lions kind of like really got blown out. As far as I recall, the Lions were really, in every single game. Even there was one game, I think it was against the Packers, or maybe it was the Rams. Actually, I think it might have been the Rams, where the first half at least was close, and then they got blown out like the second half. But Lions have really had game under their new head coach, Dan Campbell, who I like a lot. And Lions, they're missing so much. You really can't expect anything from this year. Lions are starting from scratch on their rebuild, and I do like how the team is doing the rebuilding. I think it looks like they're rebuilding them like in a physical way, and but they got beaten pretty badly here by the Bengals. There's no shame in that. The Lions, glad to see the well. Jamar Chase, 97 yards receiving. I'm not going to go, dive any deeper into those stats either. I don't think it's necessary. Like I said, I do have to kind of like wrap this up by 8:30. Okay, moving on to the Colts taking care of the Texans. Carson Wentz is starting to look really good. He looked really good, Carson Wentz, in last week's game against Baltimore, which unfortunately they wound up losing. The Ravens wound up taking over that game in the fourth quarter. And that was a heck of a game. That Monday night game last week was a heck of a game between the Colts and the Ravens. But Colts are looking good. They're 2-4. They're 2-4, but they really had a bad start to the season. They're starting to look really, really good. And no surprise, they destroyed the Texans here, 31-3. No, as they should have. Texans are just, really bad. They've got nothing on their team at all. So the Colts took care of business like the way they should have. Carson Wentz is starting to look really good. T.Y. Hilton is back. I don't know. I know he came back. I think he put up 70 yards this week on 4 receptions. That's very, very big because the Colts really needed, more depth. They really needed more of a number one wide receiver. Pittman's not a number one wide receiver. I don't know if T.Y. Hilton's going to, be a real true number one wide receiver this year like he was throughout most of his career, but he's better than what they had. He's better, and he makes the team better. Him being here makes the team better. So it's very good that T.Y. Hilton's back. Carson Wentz needs him. The rest of the receiving core needs him. So this is really going to help the Colts a lot. And the Colts defense is still, they've been really good this year. They've been playing really well, which is not a surprise. They should be. I think they're one of the most talented one of the most talented defenses in the NFL. So Indianapolis is looking good, baby. Let's see. So I just want to dive into I do want to go into the stats here a little bit. Carson Wentz didn't have a huge game, but he didn't need to either. So he went 11 for 20, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and he didn't need to because again the final score was 31-3. This game was never in doubt at all. Davis Mills, quarterback for Houston, 29 for 43, 243 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. To be fair to Davis Mills, though, listen, there was nothing too much expected of this guy this season, and he was a rookie quarterback and not highly touted. But he's got very, very little to work with too. But Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, had a good game, 89 yards. And hey, Nico Collins, I didn't realize it until I was just looking at the box score now. Rookie wide receiver for Houston, Nico Collins had 6 targets, 4 receptions, 44 yards. Very good, very good, very good to see that. I'm glad to see that Nico Collins is getting some game time here. He had 6 targets. That's pretty nice. And then Jonathan Taylor was definitely the player of the game. Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis had 14 carries for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also had 1 reception and 13 yards as well. And T.Y. Hilton, I'm sorry, T.Y. Hilton had 80 yards receiving on only 4 receptions, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 80 yards. Very nice job, T.Y. Hilton. I'll tell you, I had T.Y. Hilton on a few of my fantasy teams, and I tried to hold on to him for as long as I could, which was for like 4 or 5 weeks, and I eventually had to dump him because I needed to make some moves with bye weeks and just a bunch of guys being injured, and I eventually had to move on from him. And I don't think I can't get him back now. So other people picked him up, which is unfortunate. But I was waiting and waiting and waiting for T.Y. Hilton to come back, and he's finally back, but it was like a week too late for me. Anyway, so I think the Colts are looking good, and they're looking good, and they should have been 3-3. They should have beaten the Ravens, and I do think the Ravens are a better team. But it looked like the Colts had control of that game up until like the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and the Colts should be 3-3. But hey, listen, they're 2-4. I think the Colts are looking really good. And I think they can go on a nice run. Okay, the Rams, who are now 5-1, took care of my Giants easily. The Giants are now 1-5. The final score is 38-11. 38-11, and it actually wasn't even that close because I think it was like some point in the third quarter, maybe the beginning of the fourth quarter, where McVay basically sat down all or at least most of his starters, and I think they still outscored the Giants like 10-8 or something like that at that point. And so it's bad. Listen, the wheels have come off the cart for my Giants. They didn't get off to a good start, but a lot of Giants fans, 99% of them, I'm probably the one who's not like, yeah, am I disappointed? Absolutely disappointed. My expectations were tempered on this team anyway coming in. I was just looking for more growth, maybe hopefully get to 8 or 9 wins. But they started off in a bad way anyway, the beginning of the season when some of their prime offensive pieces that they needed to play didn't play this preseason because of injuries, like Saquon, Galladay, and also Tony too. Their offensive line was already beat up coming into the season, and this is a young O line that they were hoping to play together and develop. And then it was like 2 weeks into the season, their center's gone, their left guard is gone, and from there, ever since then, it's been like piece after piece after piece on the offense, especially, has been just decimated. So it's like a completely lost season for the Giants right now. I'm just hoping to get Barkley, Tony, Galladay back, and Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, who was having a phenomenal season before he got injured like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Andrew Thomas was having a phenomenal season. last year's first round pick for the Giants at left tackle. He's injured as well. He's got two banged up ankles now, so he's on the IR for at least 3 weeks. So I'm hoping just in a few weeks to get all these pieces back and just see what they can do, for the second half of the season. I'm not expecting a lot of wins, but I want to see what Jones, Andrew Thomas, Tony, and Saquon Barkley and Galladay can do together. So um, let's see if they can be on the field at the same time, which never ever ever seems to happen for the Giants. It's incredible. It is incredible. It's almost like they sold their soul in 2011 to win that last Super Bowl against the Patriots, Super Bowl 46, I swear. Anyway, Matthew Stafford, 251 yards, passing, 4 touchdowns. Darrell Henderson had 78 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had a monster game, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. So we'll move on to the next game there. To the next game. Okay, so the Chiefs are now 3-3. They defeated Washington, who's now 2-4. The final score was 31-13. I have a feeling Chiefs, and I've said this before. I've said this over the past few weeks that I feel like the Chiefs are ready to go on a roll, like I felt with the Packers and the Ravens. At the beginning of the season, after those two teams had suffered, I think losses like in the first game, in the first week for each of those teams. I felt like the Chiefs over the past few weeks are ready to go on a roll. I'm going to say that I do think this is the beginning of the roll. I do think Kansas City, they've gone off to a bad start. They're only 3-3, but I think Kansas City is going to go on a roll, and they took care of Washington 31-13. Mahomes 397 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darrell Williams had a good game running back for Kansas City. He had 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 99 yards on 8 receptions. Very good job there. Washington's reeling. They're 2-4. They're reeling quite a bit. They can't. Their defense is not what people were expecting. I thought Washington's defense was kind of like being talked up too much, to be honest with you. I thought they have a really good front seven, but I didn't like the secondary. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing right now is the secondary is not playing well. And let's be honest about something too. Chase Young is not, as of right now, is not showing up to be billed as advertised, which I'm shocked about. I thought he would just come in and just kind of dominate from the beginning. He actually had a better rookie year than he's been playing this year, Chase Young. But I believe in Chase Young. I think Chase Young is going to be an excellent long-term stud defensive end for Washington. I do. I'm just pointing out that he's not having a good year, and I'm actually surprised about that. But I wasn't a huge believer in Washington's defense. I don't think they're far away from being an elite defense. I think they just need some help in the secondary, but I think the front seven's very good, especially the front four. They're monsters. They really are monsters. So, but Washington, another year of adding to the secondary, and I think they're going to get there. I really do. But all right, so that's the Chiefs Washington game. Let's move on. The Vikings are now 3-3. They defeated the Panthers, who are now 3-3. Final score was 34-28. I think the Panthers had won their first 3 games. Now they've lost their last 3 games. The Panthers are having a really good rebuild, and they're building up both sides of the ball really, really well on offense and defense. And Sam Darnold's having a nice rejuvenation to his career in Carolina. And I did think the Panthers, people were getting on the Panthers train a little too quickly and a little too hard. Like I never thought that, even when they got to a 3-0 start, I never felt like this team was like an elite team, like the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, in the NFC. I'm talking about the Cardinals, the Rams. Like the Panthers weren't up there, but they're a tier below, and they are a good team. They're a very good team. Of course, the 3-game losing streak also coincides with when Christian McCaffrey went down too, and he's just a player like it's hard to do. It's hard to win without a player like that who's so integral to your team. He's just such an awesome player. So obviously that coincides with the injury to Christian McCaffrey, who I think is going to be back relatively soon. I don't know if he's going to be back this week, but maybe next week. Like I know he's not going to be out too much longer, so he'll be back soon. But the Vikings took care of business. Vikings moved up to 3-3, and Kirk Cousins 373 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook 140 yards, 1 touchdown. That's such a Dalvin Cook stat line there, isn't it? 140 yards and a touchdown. That is so Dalvin Cook. and Adam Thielen, man, my man Adam Thielen, 126 yards, one touchdown. And let me take a quick look at the Panthers over here too. Sam Darnold only 207 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Chuba Hubbard, rookie running back for Carolina, 16 carries, 61 yards, one touchdown, and he also added he only added 4 yards in the air, but Hubbard had 61 yards on the ground and a touchdown. I really loved this 2021 running back draft class. I thought it was really good. It was really, really deep. And I mentioned Khalil Herbert before for Chicago. Now you got Chuba Hubbard, who I thought would be a really good backup for Christian McCaffrey, and he's doing well. Hubbard's doing well. He had a very good game here. DJ Moore, wide receiver for Carolina, had another good game, 73 yards, no touchdowns, but he had 73 yards and 5 receptions. So, Carolina, they're coming along really, really well, and but they've got a ways to go. They've got more pieces to add. And that's that. But when Christian McCaffrey comes back, that's going to make a world of difference. Okay, let's move on to the Ravens. The Ravens, who are now 5-1, they defeated the Chargers, who are now 4-2. Final score was 34-6. This was eye popping. This was surprising. I thought the Chargers were going to actually win this game. Because as well as the Ravens have been playing, and I always believe in the Ravens. You can never count the Ravens down. They had that one loss, I think, in the beginning of the season, and people were kind of ready to throw them out the window. And for me, the Ravens, you can never count out the Ravens. They're having a phenomenal season. Lamar Jackson is such a unique talent. You have to love Lamar Jackson. Just everything he does for this team. He is the MVP of the NFL this year, absolutely. And I think Lamar Jackson is the best player in the NFL. Period. I think he's better than Mahomes. I think Mahomes is a better quarterback, but I think Lamar Jackson is a better overall player. I do. He is absolutely phenomenal what he does for the Ravens, considering that they don't really have much of a wide receiving core. No offense to Hollywood Brown, who I think is pretty good, but he's clearly not a number one wide receiver. Rashad Bateman, the rookie wide receiver, first round pick, just came back this past week from the IR. And Sammy Watkins is Sammy Watkins. He's okay, but he's nothing great. And they lost all their starting running backs. They lost like before the season even started, and they picked up really good guys off the street, and Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, and Le'Veon Bell. But this is listen, yeah, not too many teams could survive that, but here you've got Lamar Jackson just making it work. And they took care of the Chargers 34-6. Holy cow. That's an amazing result here. And let's go on that box score. Okay, so interesting. Justin Herbert he had only 195 yards, which you wouldn't be surprised because they only put up 3 points. Justin Herbert had 195 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Lamar Jackson only had 167 yards passing, one touchdown, two interceptions, and he only had 51 yards on the ground too. So not a great game by Jackson, but this team just keeps rolling. Look at the Look at the backup running backs here for Baltimore. Devontae Freeman, 53 yards. Latavius Murray, 44 yards. Le'Veon Bell, he had 18 yards. So you're looking at like 120 yards combined between those three guys they got off the street. That's really impressive. So Baltimore still, with Lamar Jackson's 51 yards, Baltimore still put up 187 yards on the ground. 187 yards on the ground. Incredible. Mark Andrews had a nice game, tight end for Baltimore. It was his second really good game in a row. He had 68 yards receiving and a touchdown. Just looking at the numbers over here. I'm assuming Baltimore's. I never really found out too much about this game, to be honest with you. I just saw the score and I never looked into the details of this game. I'm assuming Baltimore's defense had like an interception return for a touchdown or something, and I'm not really seeing that, but I don't know. But somehow Baltimore put up 34 points with not the best not the best offensive production. But I do want to call out what Baltimore does every year is amazing. Again, they lost like their entire running back core before the season even started, and here they are putting up 187 yards on the ground anyway. That is amazing. That is amazing. Baltimore. I'm always so impressed with the Baltimore Ravens. I swear, if I weren't such a diehard Giants fan for the past 40 years, I'd have to be a Baltimore Ravens fan. I really would. I really would. Okay, so let's move on to the next game. The Cardinals, the last undefeated team. The Cardinals are now 6-0. They took care. They went into Cleveland and took care of Cleveland. Uh, uh, Cleveland is now 3-3. The final score of this game was 37-14. Cleveland, man, the strength of their offense is their running game. Everyone knows the two-headed monster of Chubb and Hunt. Unfortunately, both are injured now. Chubb was injured before the game even started, and Kareem Hunt got injured in this game. So now they're going to be, I know they got Demetric Felton, who's like a fifth or sixth round rookie running back. He should be getting more snaps this week, and I think they have another player whose name I'm not remembering right now, but I don't, Hunt, the extent of Hunt's injury, I'm unsure of. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I think Chubb is going to be back fairly soon. I think Chubb is going to be back fairly soon. But Hunt, I don't know the extent of his injury. Um, but the Cardinals, man, 37-14, very impressive. And unfortunately for Cleveland, they don't have much of a passing game. And I know Baker does have a torn labrum. I'm not sure if it's I assume it's his passing arm. I assume it's his passing arm where he's got the torn labrum, but he does have a torn labrum. The Browns passing game has not been good this year. Baker did have 234 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Odell Beckham Jr., pretty good game. Odell Beckham Jr., he had 79 yards. That's good. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 101 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. Uh, I'm not a Peoples-Jones fan. I think he stinks. He'll probably disappear for the next 4 weeks. I would assume that's what he always does. He's one of those players that pops up, has a monster game, and then disappears for like 5 or 6 weeks at a stretch. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones absolutely stinks. His name should be Donovan People Stinks. But Kareem Hunt was having a nice game before he went out. He had 66 yards receiving. I'm sorry, rushing, and 12 yards receiving. So Kareem Hunt had put up 78 yards, all-purpose yards, before he went down with injury. So Cleveland's kind of reeling right now. They've got a lot of key injuries, especially Chubb and Hunt. They can't afford that at all. So, but Arizona is rolling, and they're taking care of some. They're taking care of some of the big boys, man. They're taking care of some of the. They took care of the Rams. They took care of the 49ers. I think they beat the Seahawks too, and they're taking care. They just took care of the Browns. The Cardinals are looking so damn impressive. I'd love to see a matchup between the Cardinals and the Cowboys right now. I'd love to see that matchup right now. It'd be such a good game. Okay, let's move on. Raiders are now 4-2. They defeated the Broncos. They go into Denver. I think they went into Denver. I could be wrong about that. But the Raiders are now 4-2. They defeated the Broncos, who have fallen to 3-3. The Broncos, like the Panthers, started off 3-0, I believe. Broncos are now 3-3. Raiders took care of business 34-24. I didn't really give the Raiders much of a chance in this game, mostly because of basically the resignation / firing of Chucky, their head coach. Very abrupt, sudden, just ugly, stupid stuff. And so he's gone. And I thought the team would, kind of reel, at least not the entire season, but I thought this week I figured they'd go into Denver and lose the game. But no, Raiders, man, they toughed it out. Kudos to you, Raiders. This is a different Raiders team. Let me tell you something. I don't know where they're going to be at the end of the season, but they're proven to be a resilient team. And they've been in games that they've lost, that they've been in. They've been in games that they've lost. They've had some, wins against really good, tough teams. Raiders are looking good, man. I'm really proud of the Raiders. One of my backup teams, baby. Actually, my number one backup team. My number one backup team. Rich, do you hear me? Rich Gonzalez, do you hear me? When you see this video, the Raiders are my number one backup team. But then again, I don't know. I kind of have to put Baltimore up there with one of my backup teams too, because, like I said, I do love Baltimore and their style of football. Anyway, let's move on. The Cowboys. The Cowboys they took care of the Patriots 35-29. I didn't think it was even going to be this close, but hey, when you're playing in New England against Belichick, anything can happen. I want to go into the stat line in this game here. Cowboys are now 5-1. They've got firm control of the NFC East, which is horrible yet again. But the Cowboys are not horrible. The Cowboys are not a fluke. They are not a product of having bad competition in that division. The Cowboys have been taking care of everyone. Cowboys look great, and I believe the Cowboys have covered every single spread so far this year. And Cowboys look fantastic. The Cowboys have the best offense in the NFL. They have there's no weakness in that offense. I'm not saying they can't be beaten, but I do think they're a really good team. And Dallas is an elite team. In the NFC, I think they and the Buccaneers are the two best teams. I do think the Cowboys are better than the Rams. and I think they're better than the Cardinals too. I think it's the Cowboys and the Buccaneers who are the two best teams in the NFC, and I think they're the two best teams in all of the NFL. I think the NFC actually has a few teams that are better than all the teams in the AFC this year, and the Cowboys are one of them. The Cowboys with that offensive line, with Dak being healthy and looking fantastic, Zeke and Pollard, their own two-headed monster over there, the wide receiving core with Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup coming back soon. The tight ends are good tight ends as well. These guys have no weaknesses in offense, and the defense is good. Randy Gregory is healthy. He's healthy. And now that he's healthy and on the field in a consistent way, he's producing consistently and he's having a monster year. Micah Parsons is a star. I think is a stir that's I should say he's a straw that's stirring the drink. I think Micah Parsons is bringing everything together on this defense. He's an integral piece. He stepped onto the field in game one. It's been an integral piece to the Dallas defense, and he is he's bringing so much to that defense. He adds so much to it. Stephon Diggs, not Stephon Diggs, uh, Stephon Diggs' brother, the other Diggs, the cornerback for the Cowboys, having looking like the best cornerback in football this year. So their defense is looking really solid. And the Cowboys, man, I'm telling you, the Cowboys look phenomenal. And everyone knows that, but I think there are people out there like, yeah, Cowboys look good, but they don't believe in them. This isn't the same Dallas team from the past 15 years that was capable of putting up points, but would crap the bed, in crunch time, and especially against good teams, and the defense would stink. This isn't that Cowboys team, guys. This is not. This defense has got. They've got some moxie. They really do. They really do. Dallas is looking like a scary team, and you know what? I think they actually might be better than the Buccaneers at this point too. So Buccaneers, they are the defending Super Bowl champions. So I'm sorry, I've got something on ESPN that's playing. I hope you didn't hear that. It was just like a little advertisement video. Anyway, let's move on to the Steelers. You know what? Actually, real quick, let's go to that Cowboys game stat line. Because yeah, Dak had 445 yards, 3 touchdowns. Damian Harris, running back for New England, very nice game, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Monster games by these guys. Zeke had 69 yards rushing. He also had 50 yards receiving. So Zeke put up like 120 yards combined in the air and on the ground. Dalton Schultz, tight end for Dallas, 79 yards. Really nothing great to speak of on the receiving side for New England. But again, Damian Harris, running back, had a really nice game with 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Mac Jones, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And again, Dak, 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, one interception, 36 for 51. So the man was chucking it yesterday. And we'll move on to the next game, which is the Steelers, who are now 3-3, defeat the Seahawks, who are now 2-4, 23-20 in overtime. It actually, I was surprised that it went into overtime. I figured it'd be a somewhat close game, but listen, Geno West is quarterback right now for the Seahawks. I didn't expect it to be, going into overtime, but the Steelers pull out the win, and good game for them overall. And that's it. I'm not going to go into the stat line on that game. I don't think it's all that it's really not all that noteworthy, and I'm kind of running out of time here anyway. So, and then you have the 4-2 Titans, the now 4-2 Titans defeated the Buffalo Bills 34-31. This was a phenomenal game. I never thought Tennessee would go into Buffalo and win this game. I was off the Titans train, last week, 2 weeks ago. I thought they looked like crap. The defense looked like crap. The wide receivers are all injured. The only guy who's healthy is Derrick Henry, like he always is. And no matter what, Derrick Henry, whether he's got wide receivers playing alongside him or he's the the one man show on offense, Derrick Henry gets it done. Derrick Henry is my favorite running back in the NFL today, and he has been for the past few years. I love that guy. He's always out there. He's always getting 2 or 3 touchdowns every single game, like 150 yards every single game, whether he's got wide receivers or not playing alongside him. He just gets the job done. I love Derrick Henry, one of my favorite running backs probably of all time now. And I'll tell you, the Titans, they played a great game. The defense played a really good game. Hey, listen, they love 31 points, but this is Buffalo, who's capable of putting up 31 points like that in any game against pretty much any defense. So there's no shame in that. They held on a great win there at the end. It was a really exciting game. And let's go into that box score there for real quick. And that's the last game anyway. So, and then we're going to move on to my week 7 picks. So, Josh Allen, monster game, 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also had 26 yards rushing as well. Derrick Henry, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. Look at these numbers, man. Look at these numbers. Stephon Diggs had a good game. He had a touchdown, 89 yards. AJ Brown was healthy, and he actually had a good game this year. Probably his first one, 91 yards receiving, no touchdowns, but 91 yards receiving. And that's pretty much it there on the offensive side of the ball. But still, monster games by Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and just by those two, just like two of the best players in football. And so that was a phenomenal game. One of the best games this year so far, easily, really. Very impressive. I'll tell you, man, Tennessee, that is a tough team. A tough team. I'm disappointed in myself for getting off the Tennessee train a few weeks ago. Um, I didn't like the start they got off to. AJ Brown's like always banged up, not looking good. Julio Jones wasn't necessarily off to a great start either, and I wasn't surprised by that because I kind of felt like Julio Jones had definitely taken like 2 or 3 steps backwards in his career. He's older. He's older. It happens to everyone. But Tennessee is resilient, man. They're like the Ravens. They're like the Ravens. They're a resilient team, and I think they resemble their head coach Vrabel. I think they just follow Vrabel. He's got that type of like resilient feeling and aura about him as well. So, but anyway, all right. So that was week 6. Let's go into week 7. And my crystal ball, the Joe knows crystal ball. We're going in there right now, baby. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, baby. Okay, I got to share screen. All right, Joe, let's share this. Share the screen. Let's share it. Share like the wind. Here we go. Woohoo! All right, baby. All right, so for week 6, I went 10-4 with the spread and 10-4 straight up. I am so good. I had such a great week last week. So again, I went 10-4 with the spread and 10-4 straight up. Those were my week 6 results. Year to date so far with the spread, I'm 58, 35, and 1. Again, 58, 35, and 1. And straight up, I'm 63 and 31. That is very good. I'm sorry, but I deserve my bragging rights there. Okay, let's move on to Joe Knows picks for NFL Week 7. These will be updated on my Sunday morning show, the Cup of Joe show on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Maybe 8:30. It's supposed to start at 8. It usually starts at 8:30. But anyway, I'll be updating my picks Sunday morning. But as of right now, these are the picks that I'm going with for the upcoming Week 7 games. And before we get into that, just a reminder, these are the teams that have a bye week this week. Unfortunately, it's a lot of really good teams, so it's going to be a pretty boring week in the NFL. The Bills, the teams who have a bye week this week are the Bills, Cowboys, Vikings, Steelers, Chargers, and Jaguars. So the Bills, Cowboys, and Chargers alone being not having games, that is a lot of excitement that's not going to be in the NFL this week. This is going to be a boring week, I think, in the NFL, I would assume. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. Okay, so you got the Broncos at the Browns. The Browns are giving 2 points. As of right now, I'm taking the Broncos getting the points and the Broncos straight up. Hunt is done for right now. I don't know the extent of Hunt's injury, how long it's going to be, but he's not playing this week. And I don't think Chubb is going to be back this week either. And the Browns passing game has not been good this year. I got to go with the Broncos, even though they're at Cleveland. I got to go with the Broncos, who are getting 2 points. That's not a lot of points, but they're getting points. I think the Broncos are going to pull the upset in Cleveland. Washington at the Packers. Packers are laying 8.5 points. They're giving 8.5 points. I'm actually taking Washington getting the points in this game. And even though Washington, I've got to say, they're looking worse and worse every week now. Ever since they beat the Giants in that nail biter, what was it, like week 3? I think it was. I think it was week 3 when they beat the Giants. Ever since then, they've actually looked worse and worse and worse. So I wouldn't be surprised if Washington goes into Green Bay and gets their doors blown off. But I'm going to take Washington getting the points. I'm definitely taking the Packers straight up, but I think Washington might actually keep this game fairly close. So I might change this one Sunday morning. I might change it, but as of right now, I'm taking Washington getting the points, and I'm taking the Packers, of course, straight up to win. Chiefs at the Titans. The Chiefs are given 5.5 points in Tennessee. That is really surprising. I'm taking the Titans getting the points, and I'm going to take the Chiefs straight up because I feel like I said, and I might change this Sunday morning as well. I feel like the Chiefs have a big winning streak in them. I know the running game looks like crap. The defense doesn't look very good, but I feel like the Chiefs, just with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kelsey alone, it's just those three players alone are so damn talented that they could always run off seven or eight wins against any competition, and you can't be surprised. Uh, Tennessee is looking really resilient. They're looking good. This game's in Tennessee. I'm really surprised that Kansas City's giving 5.5 points. I got to take the Titans getting the points in the game, but I do think the Chiefs are going to win straight up. Um, Falcons at the Dolphins. The Falcons are giving 2.5 points. I'm really surprised by that because Tua is playing. And Tua might not be on the Dolphins this weekend. It might be Deshaun Watson. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I saw on Twitter today that it looks like these, the long discussed rumors on Deshaun Watson being traded to Miami may actually be coming to fruition by this weekend. And if that's the case, then I would assume that Tua is going to Houston, and of course Deshaun Watson will be going to Miami. But even if Watson were traded to Miami, it's not like he'd be playing this week, so he doesn't, he still has to be introduced to the Dolphins offense. So it's not like Deshaun Watson would be playing this week. But the Falcons are giving 2.5 in Miami, and I'm surprised by that because Tua, if Tua is still in Miami, he's going to be playing. Um, and I'm really surprised. It's not like the Falcons are all that great. I think they've got 2 wins. I think they've got 2 wins, and it's not like this is some phenomenal team. So the Falcons are giving 2.5 points in Miami. I'll take the Dolphins getting the points, and I'm going to take the Dolphins straight up, assuming that Tua is playing. Again, if Tua is traded, you're not going to see Deshaun Watson being quarterback for the Dolphins this weekend. It'll be Jacoby Brissett, and if that's the case, then my picks are definitely going to change. So this could change Sunday morning. This could change Sunday morning. If Tua is still on Miami, for this game, I'm going with the Dolphins getting the points and the Dolphins straight up. Jets at the Patriots. The Patriots are giving 7 points. I'm taking the Patriots giving the points and the Patriots straight up. Again, rookie quarterback for the Jets. The Jets just they don't look good anyway. Not that the Patriots are a great team, but they do have Belichick. Mac Jones is having a nice rookie year, and the Jets have their own rookie quarterback who has to go against Belichick again. I think for the second time this year, and Belichick makes rookie quarterbacks just look silly. So Patriots are laying 7 points, but I'm going to take the Patriots giving the points and the Patriots straight up. Panthers at the Giants. The Panthers are giving 3 points at the Meadowlands. I'm taking the Panthers giving the points and the Panthers straight up. The Giants are so banged up. I'll tell you, the Giants play horribly at MetLife anyway. In the Meadowlands, the Giants play horribly. Even when they weren't banged up, they play horribly. The Giants for a long time, even the last like 6 years of the Eli era, the Giants played better on the road. They have for actually 10 years. So Giants are just horrible at home, but the Giants are just so banged up. Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, is now down. Barkley's down. Tony's down. Galladay's down. The starting center's been down. He's gone for the season with a snapped leg. They're on their fourth left guard. It's really, really ugly with the injuries with the Giants. It's incredible how quickly these injuries have just piled up for the Giants. Unbelievable. And I don't think until the Giants could actually pull out a win with all these injuries, I can't believe that they can. I won't believe it until I see it. I think the Panthers, I'll take the Panthers giving the points and the Panthers straight up. And I assume this isn't even going to be a close game, to be honest with you. Bengals at the Ravens. The Ravens are given 6.5 points. The game's in Baltimore. I'll tell you, the Bengals have played. I don't think the Bengals have lost by more. The Bengals are 4-2. I think their 2 losses. I think they were both within 3 points. And the Ravens are a really good team. But I'll tell you, I'm definitely taking the Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens straight up in this game. As of right now, I'm taking the Bengals getting the points. It's a divisional game too. Divisional games are crazy. Bengals are going to be looking to prove something against the Ravens. 6.5 points is not a big spread. I mean, the Ravens are good every single year. The Bengals are only now, looking good. Their rebuild that just started like a year or two ago. Bengals are coming along very nice, but playing the Ravens are beast of a different nature. They're always a good, solid team. But you know what? I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I'd be shocked if the Ravens lost, but I do think the Bengals are going to cover the spread. So I'm going to take the Bengals getting the points. I might change my mind on this one Sunday morning, but we'll see. But I feel pretty confident about this. Bengals getting the points and Ravens straight up. Eagles at the Raiders. The Raiders are giving 3 points. I'm actually going to take the Eagles getting the points and the Eagles straight up in the upset. I think the Raiders overall are a better team than the Eagles. I think the Eagles are actually a pretty decent team. I think the Eagles are decent. Um, I have a feeling the Raiders are going to have a hard time with Jalen Hurts. Um, I'm going to take the Eagles straight up in this game, and of course, the Eagles getting the points. Again, the Raiders are giving 3 points. I'm going to take the Eagles getting the points and the Eagles straight up just with an upset. I just have a feeling about this game, just a gut feeling that Jalen Hurts is going to be a real pain in the ass for the Raiders. Kind of turning into a Jalen Hurts fan, and it hurts because I'm a Giants fan. So, but I like Jalen Hurts a lot. Lions at the Rams. The Rams. Okay, this week we got like 3 games that have very, very big point spreads, and I think this is the first time where I'm taking the teams who are laying the points each time. And these are really, and that scares me because these are very, very big point spreads. The Lions are at the Rams. The Rams are giving 15 points. I'm taking the Rams giving the points and the Rams straight up. I think the Lions have had a very admirable season. I think they're going to continue to play hard for Dan Campbell, but I think they're just going up against a team that is head and shoulders much better than they are. And I'll tell you though, if the Lions lose by 14, they cover the spread. Look at that. But I might change my mind on this one. We'll see. We'll see Sunday morning. I mean, 15 points is just a lot. And the Rams just destroyed the Giants like what was it, like 38-13 or something like that. But the Giants are absolutely reeling with their injuries up and down all over their offense, all over their offense. They're just absolutely reeling. So the Lions, not so much. Lions just, are just they've only just started their rebuild. So, that's really pretty much, what it's at. They're really, Lions are very much lacking in any type of elite talent. So as of right now, I'm taking the Rams, giving the points, and the Rams, definitely the Rams straight up. Texans at the Cardinals. Here's another big point spread. Cardinals are giving 17.5 points. I got to take the Cardinals giving the points and the Cardinals straight up. The only way I think the Texans cover the spread and don't, the only way the Texans don't lose by more than like 21 points is if the Cardinals rest their starters like in the beginning of the fourth quarter and or the second half of the third quarter, and it allows the Cardinals to put up some points. So I got to go with the Cardinals though. Even though they're laying 17.5 points, that's crazy. Bears, the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are laying 12.5 points. I'm taking the Buccaneers giving the points and the Buccaneers straight up. I got to tell you though, the Bears defense has done a very good job of keeping the Bears, competitive. Um, but I just don't think the Bears have the offense to match up with the Buccaneers at all. So I'll take the Buccaneers giving 12.5 points and definitely the Buccaneers straight up. Um, Colts at 49ers. The 49ers laying 4 points. I'm taking the Colts getting the points, and I'm taking the 49ers straight up to win. I might change this. I might change my mind. I probably will wind up changing my mind in this game by Sunday morning. I could see the Colts pulling the upset straight up. I could see the 49ers. This game is in San Francisco. I think it's the 49ers running game is so banged up. Garoppolo is going to be in, which is good because Trey Lance is not ready to start. So you'll have Garoppolo starting apparently this weekend, I do believe. But their receiving game hasn't looked good. Um, as of right now, I'm taking the Colts getting the points and the 49ers straight up. Don't be shocked if you know what? I'm going to change this right now. I'm calling an upset. I'm calling an upset. I'm calling the Colts um, winning straight up. I think there's going to be an upset in this game. This could easily change Sunday morning, but as of right now, I'm going with the Colts getting the points and the Colts winning straight up. And then you've got the last game, Saints at the Seahawks. The Saints are laying 5 points. I'm taking the Saints giving the points and the Saints straight up. I don't have a good feeling about this game. I know everyone's laughing at the Seahawks because of Geno West. I, I think Geno West is actually okay. He played okay for the Seahawks last weekend against Pittsburgh in that defense. He could do the same thing against the Saints in Seattle. And it's not like Seattle's got some great offense at all. So as of right now, I'm taking the Saints giving the points and the Saints straight up, but I can very well change my mind on this one Sunday morning. Well, don't be shocked by that. But again, I'll be doing these picks again. I'll be updating these picks Sunday morning on my Cup of Joe program, which is going to start sometime between 8 and 8:30 a.m. Okay, so that's my picks for week 7. And before we go, everyone, just want to go over the schedule we have for Toilets to Titles. We have 8 shows in season for the NFL season right now. We've got Monday night, we've got our waiver wire program, which is for Patreon members only. Tuesday at 8 p.m., we've got Toilets to Titles, which is our flagship program, and that's our brought to you by our flagship contributors, Coach Chefs, Justin Stevens, and Nate. They're like the 3 founders of Toilets to Titles. Wednesday at 9 p.m. I really pretty much started at 8 p.m. actually, or 8:30, but it's this program you're watching right now, Joe Knows NFL Review Preview. Following the show Wednesday at around 10 o'clock or 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's Dollars to Deuces, which is weekly betting advice. And that's with Rich Gonzalez and Nate. And then you've got Thursday at 8 p.m. a dash of DFS. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. we've got our Down Under Dynasty show. We've got our 3 guys from Australia doing their Dynasty Fantasy Football show. It's awesome. It's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yes, we've got a crew in Australia, and you don't. We are global. You are not. Yes, I love. That's a great bragging right. I really like it a lot. And then Sunday at 8 a.m. or around really 8:30 a.m. is my other show, Cup of Joe, where I recap the Saturday NCAA football games, and I do an abbreviated, another NFL preview for the Week 7 games, and I do my updated picks. And then Sunday following that show at around 10:30 a.m. is the Blitz, which is our fantasy football advice, mostly start sit advice. But I keep saying it says call in show. It will be a call in show. But really, what you can do right now is definitely send your questions if you have any start sit questions. If you're unsure what to do, send it through the chat. And the 3 hosts of the show, that's Alex, Mike, and Justin, they will answer every and all questions. Plus, they're going to give their own start and sit advice as well. But that's a great show. I love catching that Sunday morning. You'll enjoy it too. And again, before we go, here's the Twitter handles for me and all my colleagues here at Toilets to Titles. Great crew, every single one of us, especially me. Follow us all, please, on Twitter. Those are our Twitter handles. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell, give us that 5-star Apple review. Why? Because we deserve it. Love you. I'm out of here. Peace. Have a great night. Enjoy week 7 of the NFL, guys. I'll see you Sunday morning. Take care. Bye.